They fired me the day I saved them, $180 million, not saved in some abstract way. 007. 7 seconds. I literally prevented a Defense Contract Audit Agency investigation that would have banned us from federal work for a decade and sent our VP to federal prison. 17 seconds. The radar system contract I'd flagged that morning contained DCAA violations so obvious they might as well have been written in red ink. 24 seconds. But Pierce Hamilton didn't want to hear about problems. He wanted signatures and speed. So naturally, he fired the guy who actually read the contracts. 33 seconds. My name's Rob Martinez. I'm 47 years old, and back then they called me the contract guardian. Some said it with respect. 40 seconds. Others rolled their eyes like I was the hall monitor of defense contracting. 44 seconds, always there, always checking, always somehow keeping us compliant with federal regulations that could shut down our entire operation. 52 seconds, my official title was Senior Defense Contracts Specialist. 55 seconds, 14 years deep, at Maritime Defense Systems in San Diego. 8 years before that, in the Navy working radar systems on destroyers. 1 minute, 4 seconds. 2 kids heading to college, a mortgage in California that required both my salary and my sanity. I didn't make noise, I made bulletproof government contracts. 1.14, 1 minute, 14 seconds. I didn't play golf with executives or schmooze during company retreats. I lived in the compliance requirements. 1:20, 1 minute, 20 seconds while other people flirted with DCAA disaster. I was threading federal regulation needles like my family's future depended on it, which it did. 1:29, 1 minute, 29 seconds. Give me a red pen, a 50-page defense contract draft from sales, and a cup of Navy-strength coffee. And I was happier than a sailor on shore leave. 1:38, 1 minute, 38 seconds. I loved it, really loved it. The precision, the stakes, the knowledge that cutting corners in defense work doesn't just cost money, it costs lives. 1:48, 1 minute, 48 seconds at Maritime Defense. I was the grey uniform in a room full of civilian suits. Never flashy, never messy, just there, dependable. 1:57, 1 minute, 57 seconds. I kept us compliant with COIC, DCA regulations, Defense Federal Acquisition Regulations, and International Traffic in Arms Regulations. 2:04, 2 minutes, 4 seconds. 3 acronyms. Nobody in our San Diego office appreciated until everything started burning. Pierce sure didn't appreciate it. 2:12, 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Pierce Hamilton, the new VP of Operations, 32 years old with a Wharton MBA and the kind of entitled swagger that made experienced contractors invisible. 2:22, 2 minutes, 22 seconds. He didn't. Just dislike military veterans. He saw us as obstacles to modern business practices. 2:28. 2 minutes, 28 seconds within his first week, he'd started bypassing compliance review on time-sensitive deals and creating fast-track approval processes that somehow never included the contracts department. 2:37, 2 minutes, 37 seconds. I was military. That made me a dinosaur in his eyes, not in the dangerous sense. 2:42, 2 minutes, 42 seconds, but in the I know what regulations you're breaking and why it'll explode kind of way. Pierce didn't want guardrails. He wanted yes men. 2:50, 2 minutes, 50 seconds, EU. Wanted to sign defense contracts fast, flip partnerships like startup deals, and get promoted before anyone noticed the compliance gaps. Me, 2:58, 2 minutes, 58 seconds. I wanted to read the vendor clause that waived our rights to government oversight protections. Call me Old Navy. Before Pierce showed up, life was weirdly peaceful. 3:06, 3 minutes, 6 seconds. I'd start my day with black coffee and a spreadsheet of open contracts. I liked the solitude of it. How every clause was a puzzle. 3:14, 3 minutes, 14 seconds. Every deal was a minefield I could diffuse with the right compliance. Language. I spent years building a system where even if everyone around me lost their minds, 3:23, 3 minutes, 23 seconds, the contracts wouldn't get us banned from federal work. I was the safety officer in a building full of risk takers. 3:29, 3 minutes, 29 seconds. They didn't like that. I pulled the emergency brake sometimes, but they were still getting government contracts because of it. 3:36. 3 minutes, 36 seconds. People forget that in defense companies like ours, the person who writes the compliance rules quietly becomes the most powerful person in the building. 3:44. 3 minutes, 44 seconds. They just don't realize it until it's too late. 3:47. 3 minutes, 47 seconds. Pierce blew in with that Wharton MBA and the kind of confidence that makes board members nod while experienced contractors become invisible. 3:55. 3 minutes, 55 seconds. First day, he parked in his daddy's reserved spot. Did I mention he was CEO Patricia Hamilton's son? 4. 4 minutes, 1 second, and announced to the entire office that we needed to move at commercial velocity. Translation: 4:07. 4 minutes, 7 seconds, cut the compliance review, skip the DCAA assessment, and pray the government doesn't audit us. 4:13 minutes, 13 seconds. He was charming in that fast-talking, trust me I went to business school kind of way. Had that fake humble charisma that made junior staff swoon and board members nod. 4:24. 4 minutes, 24 seconds. The kind of guy who ended every sentence with make sense. 4:27. 4 minutes, 27 seconds. Like your understanding was part of his genius. He didn't just disregard military veterans. 4:32. 4 minutes, 32 seconds. He treated us like expired equipment. The second he found out I'd served 8 years in the Navy, he smiled like I'd just confessed to still using a slide rule. 4:40. 4 minutes. 40 seconds. I like fresh thinking, he said once, teeth gleaming. 4:44. 4 minutes, 44 seconds. People who think differently. Which of course meant people who don't remember how we got audited by DCAA in 2019 for this exact stunt. 4:51. 4 minutes, 51 seconds within weeks. He'd started muscling through contracts like they were Amazon purchases. Sales loved him. Engineering worshipped him. And compliance? 4:59. 4 minutes, 59 seconds. Compliance was being left out. IV calls, pushed out of deal memos, and sent final drafts 10 minutes before signatures. 5:06. 5 minutes, 6 seconds. It was like watching someone build a warship without checking if the hull would float, using fireworks instead of proper welding. I wasn't panicking yet. 5:15. 5 minutes, 15 seconds. 14 years had taught me that defense companies go through phases. Bad managers come and go. Good contracts outlast them all. 5:22. 5 minutes, 22 seconds. I kept doing my job, reading every line, flagging every DCA risk. 5:27. 5 minutes, 27 seconds, sending my careful memos up the chain. But Pierce wasn't just ignoring the warnings. 5:33. 5 minutes, 33 seconds. He was actively bypassing the system, removing people from email threads, creating fast-track approval processes that somehow never included me. 5:41. 5 minutes, 41 seconds, setting up side conversations with vendors before contracts even hit my desk. The guy was allergic to compliance. And in the defense contracting world, 5:50, 5 minutes, 50 seconds, compliance isn't bureaucracy, it's survival. 5:53, 5 minutes, 53 seconds. That's when I knew this wasn't going to end with Pierce learning his lesson or the board reining him in. This was going to end with someone getting hurt. 6:01, 6 minutes, 1 second. The question was whether it would be me, the company, or both. Turns out, I'd spent years building the perfect trap. 6:11, 6 minutes, 11 seconds. I just didn't know Pierce would be arrogant enough to step in it. 6:14, 6 minutes, 14 seconds. Defense Contractor Revenge Story, Part 2. 6 months after Pierce got his walking papers, I was sitting in the executive boardroom at Maritime Defense Systems, 6:23, 6 minutes, 23 seconds, same glass table, where they'd tried to destroy my career, same leather chairs, where they'd panicked about Clause 12B. But this time, I wasn't the guy getting fired. 6:31, 6 minutes, 31 seconds. I was the guy they were begging to come back. Rob, we need you, Patricia Hamilton said, sliding a contract across the table. 6:39, 6 minutes, 39 seconds. The CEO herself, Pierce's own mother, looking like she'd aged 5 years in 6 months. Name your price. The irony wasn't lost on me. 6:49, 6 minutes, 49 seconds. The woman whose son had called me military archaeology was now offering me a consulting contract worth more than my old salary and Pierce's combined. 6:57, 6 minutes, 57 seconds. Senior compliance advisor, she continued. Full autonomy, direct report to the board. 7:04, 7 minutes, 4 seconds. No one, and I mean no one, touches a contract without your signature. I picked up the offer, scanned it like I'd done 1,000 times before. 7:11, 7 minutes, 11 seconds. Numbers looked good. Really good. But there was something else I wanted more than money. 7:17, 7 minutes, 17 seconds. I want Pierce's old office, I said. Patricia's face went pale. Rob, that's non-negotiable. I set the contract down, leaned back in the chair. 7:27, 7 minutes, 27 seconds. Glass walls, corner view, executive elevator access, and I want his parking spot. You could hear the air conditioning humming. 7:34, 7 minutes, 34 seconds, board members shifting in their seats. Patricia staring at me like I'd just asked for her firstborn, which, in a way, I had. Done, she said, finally. 7:44, 7 minutes, 44 seconds. That's how I ended up in Pierce's fishbowl, looking out at the San Diego harbor, drinking Navy-strength coffee from his old executive coffee machine. 7:52, 7 minutes, 52 seconds. The same machine he'd used to brew that green health drink while he lectured me about staying in my lane. The first thing I did was hang my Navy discharge certificate on the wall. 8:01, 8 minutes, 1 second right where Pierce used to display his Wharton MBA. The second thing I did was install a proper filing system. The third thing was to call an all-hands meeting. 8:10, 8 minutes, 10 seconds morning, everyone, I said, standing at the front of the main conference room. Same room where they'd fired me. Same glass walls Pierce had loved so much. 8:18, 8 minutes, 18 seconds. I'm Rob Martinez, your new senior compliance advisor. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But everyone's going to know one thing about how we do business now. 8:28, 8 minutes, 28 seconds. I clicked to the first slide of my presentation, a photo of a Navy destroyer cutting through rough seas. This is the USS Porter, 8:36, 8 minutes, 36 seconds. I spent 3 years on her, maintaining radar systems that kept 300 sailors alive in hostile waters. You know what happens when you cut corners on a destroyer? 8:44, 8 minutes, 44 seconds. People die. You know what happens when you cut corners on defense. Contracts, companies die. Click next slide, 8:52, 8 minutes, 52 seconds. A chart showing Maritime Defense's contract wins over the past 6 months. 0, 8:58, 8 minutes, 58 seconds. We've won exactly 0 new federal contracts since Pierce Hamilton's fast-track program went into effect. You want to know why? 9:05, 9 minutes, 5 seconds. Because DCAA flagged us as high risk after that radar system disaster. The Pentagon won't touch us with a 10-foot pole. Murmurs around the room. 9:13, 9 minutes, 13 seconds. Engineering guys looking uncomfortable. Sales team suddenly very interested in their phones. But here's the good news, I continued. We're going to fix this. 9:22, 9 minutes, 22 seconds together. The right way, the Navy way. Over the next 3 months, I rebuilt our compliance infrastructure from the ground up. 9:30, 9 minutes, 30 seconds every contract template. 9:32, 9 minutes, 32 seconds every approval process, every vendor agreement. It was like performing surgery on a patient while they were still running a marathon. 9:40, 9 minutes, 40 seconds. The engineering team hated me at first. They were used to Pierce's move fast and break things mentality. 9:45, 9 minutes, 45 seconds. I made them slow down, document everything, follow proper ITAR protocols. This is bureaucracy, one young engineer complained during a design review. 9:55, 9 minutes, 55 seconds. Pierce never made us fill out this paperwork. Pierce got fired, I replied, not looking up from his technical specs. 10:02. 10 minutes, 2 seconds. This paperwork keeps you employed. The sales team was worse. They'd gotten addicted to Pierce's promise anything to close the deal approach. 10:09. 10 minutes, 9 seconds. Now I was making them actually read contracts before signing them. We're losing deals because of your process, the sales director complained.